You're listening to Online Pet Health Podcasts with Dr. Megan Kelly. Continuing education for veterinarian rehabilitation therapists. Learn more at onlinepethealth.com.
Hey Vet Rehabbers, today I chat to Tracey Jones from Fusion Vet Physio in the United Kingdom. It's one of my Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcasts, and here we learn from vet rehabbers from all over the world how they practice vet rehab. They share their challenges, their wins and losses, and the hope that we can learn from their mistakes and so we don't get to make the same ones that they did. They also share their tips and advice on how they navigate through this crazy world we live in today, and we get a glimpse into their vet rehab life. Tracey shares with me how she gets most of her clients. She knows she should be on social media a whole lot more, but luckily she gets a lot of her clients through word of mouth, and she's busy enough that she doesn't have to actively market. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. Over to Tracey. Hey Tracey, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi there. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to it.
Tracey, for the listeners, won't you tell them how you got into the field of veterinary rehabilitation?
Well, my background has always been in either working with humans with problems or working with dogs. And I first started off as a groomer, and from there did my hydrotherapy qualification, went to work at a veterinary practice with that. And it was during that time I obviously seen an opportunity to go on and do more with the rehab side of things, and decided to do the qualification from there.
Right, so you did your CCRP and then you went on to study further after that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes, yeah, and that was just the most amazing course ever. I'll never forget it. And it was after I'd done the course that I then was fortunate enough to work in a big referral centre on an externship, and learned a lot from the physios there. And to be honest, when I was there, I was still a little bit tied on whether I just wanted to continue with the CCRP or go on and do my vet physio qualification, which in the end I decided to do that as well, not long after that. So it was quite an ordeal trying to get everything together, but it's been fantastic, really good.
Yeah, so the place that you did your externship, if I was reading on your website, I think it's Fitzpatrick referral, so where the super vet is, right?
Yes, and
that must have
the
been
girls
amazing.
there were amazing. I mean, just a fantastic opportunity, and I learned so much, and worked through the cases that sometimes you would never ever get the opportunity to see. And the girls were great, and we had a really good rapport, working in that, and I think it was that swayed me to think, what, I would like to go on and do my physio qualification as well. So I've got that. It was excellent.
Awesome. So then you opened up your own practice in Aberdeenshire.
I did.
Tell us about that.
My husband was he was in the army, and we got moved about quite a lot. So I was always moving from vet practice to vet practice. And then as soon as we moved up here, I said, right, I want to be based, because I was doing mobile physio, and we bought this place, and it had some old outbuildings, and we had one converted to a rehab centre, which has been actually gone through quite a few changes to tweak it as I've gone along, because I found that this is not working now and that's not working now. So it's been ever changing, but I think I've got it right now.
So looking back, what were the things that didn't work?
Do you know what? I think the mistakes that I made in regard to the rehab centre was underestimating what I needed and how much the whole cost of everything was going to be. And it's been really evolving because of that. As the money's come in, we've been able to do more things. And the biggest mistake was to have a hydrotherapy pool, but the walkway was through the physiotherapy room. We had a massive room where I did gait analysis and everything. And of course, it was forever damp and wet, and you couldn't use one because the other was in use, So as soon as it's only just been done this year, actually, we've had another treatment room put in and split the whole room up, and it works a lot better. So that's the biggest mistake. It's almost kind of walking your way through what you intend to do. And if I think if I'd done that, I would have realised it was never going to work like that, So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the flow of a vet rehab practice is so important, right?
Yeah.
So it's very different to a normal veterinary practice where you have like your waiting area and then all these consult rooms.
Yes.
And then those consult rooms connect to the back end. So most of the clients go in and out. And then if they need to, they go through into the back. Whereas with us, we're often going to multiple different rooms and then
Yes.
trying to work out how to move patients between the rooms and not to disturb people that are currently being, patients that are being treated, and you want to just going to sneak through quickly, and then the dog jumps up, and so the flow is so important. But you got that sorted out now, which is great.
We've got that sorted now, and we've got. I've always worked, because again, in my background, when I left school, I worked as a dog groomer, and I had ended up opening my own salon, as it were, and I had 5 members of staff who were trained up. And I always had it in my mind that because we were on a busy road, I mean, we're not here, that it was a 2-door kind of setup, so that if they got through one door, they couldn't get through another. And I like that even now with mine. I like to have doors so that if the dog happens to get out and bolt, that there is some protection for them going into the main car park or anything like that, so it's important. So, but I think I've got it right now.
I think that's one of vet rehab therapists and vets' biggest nightmares, losing a patient. So I've worked at vet practices before where cats have snuck out, and the whole practice is running around the neighborhood chasing a cat.
I know. It's a big fear.
So tell us about the practice. So what have you got? What setup have you got? So what type of hydrotherapy are you having? And you've obviously got your one consult area. Are you the only physio there?
I'm the only physio at the practice. The one girl who works with me, she's going on to do her canine massage course. And then from there, hopefully she'll get in to do her vet physio, because she's very, very keen to progress. But we have other people who come in and they hire the premises for Reiki and, complementary therapy, things like that, because we do now have the treatment room. But we have a pool, we have an underwater treadmill, and as I say, we have the treatment room. And I use many, many different modalities for the animals that come to us, and always trying to keep ahead of the game. And we go to the London Vet Show regularly we did before the COVID, to make sure that if there's anything new out there, we want our clients to have the best that there is.
So you've got the pool and underwater treadmill, and then is there a hydrotherapist that runs that for you?
It's either myself or Ailey that goes in there, but we've got a new girl starting, and she's had some sessions because she's going to be doing her hydrotherapy qualification. So we give her some of the more maintenance sessions, not the ones that are coming in brand new, that have acute or chronic conditions that the vets are wanting the physio to see first of all, which we generally do, so yeah.
Okay. All right, great. And tell us about the modalities that you've got. So, it's one of those kind of things where it's always a big investment for us when we decide to buy a laser or whatever.
Yeah.
So what have you invested in?
Well, I actually am very sad. When it was my 40th birthday, my husband said to me, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I wanted a new laser. And I got, it was just, when I tell people now, they're like, "Look amazing, I've got 2 heads," because it was that. And also I wanted a donation given to the Save the Rhino. And I got just, this random, I want a new laser. So I got a new laser. So it cost me nothing for a new laser. And then I use, I have therapeutic ultrasound, which I use. I'm on to my second one now. I use it quite a lot. And I have 10s and M's that I use. I use the PT 2010 for the dogs that has the comb attachment, which is great rather than the sticky pads. I have a stance analyzer, which is amazing because it's just so fantastic for, I wouldn't say non-believer in clients, but you do get the ones where they've been referred for treatment and they don't understand why, they're actually attending, or the dog seems fine when they're running and there's no problem. And even when you say to them, well, you won't see any lameness when they're running, but you may see it in a slow walk. Putting them on the stance analyzer, we have a big screen and that they go onto the stance analyzer and it's all there. It tells you exactly how much weight they're putting through the limbs, where the center of gravity is, and the stability is as well. So it's fantastic for that. I do really like my stance analyzer. And we have an Equisage, which is a massage mat which the dogs go on, and we use post-magnetic field therapy devices as well. And I have a number that about 3 or 4 of those that I loan out to clients so they can use them safely at home as well. So we have that option.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I want to chat a bit about the stance analyzer, but before I do that, I want to just tell you, we have these on our Facebook page. We have these memes, and it says, you're a vet rehabber. And your comment now about the birthday, I thought this is gonna have to be a meme. You're a vet rehabber when you ask for a laser for your 40th birthday.
It's just sad, is it? Sometimes when people mention it, I just think, is that too sad to actually keep saying it? Can I not think of something more exciting, like a trip on the Orient Express or something like that? No, it was a laser.
I love it. Let's chat about that stance analyzer, because this is a piece of equipment, when I was in practice, I would have absolutely loved to have. So I love measurements and things like that, and like you say, for those like clients that are not really, too sure, because you'll obviously say to them, if your dog has got like a mild injury and maybe it's not weight bearing exactly right, you might be explaining to them about the consequences of that. So, compensatory injuries. And then when you've got the stance analyzer, you can actually show them and they can see the figures. Because I really find with clients, in the veterinary world, like, you would examine an animal and you would know there's something obviously not right and we need to do bloods. And at that point, they're still not 100% convinced, the owner. But as soon as you get the blood results, then you tell them, this is what it should be, this is what it is. And then right then and there, they're like, okay. And that's a bit like the stance analyzer, when you've got the figures there, you can say, this is actually what is going on and we need to address it. Otherwise, there are going to be further consequences. And I really like it for those sporting dogs. So, I mean, what are the kind of cases that you're putting using the stance analyzer for?
Well, exactly that. I mean, we use it for a number of cases that we actually get through, and the beauty is that you can print the results off. You can graph it as well, so you can see that you're making some progress, which is great to send back to the vet. So you've got the clinical reasoning why you're actually offering some treatment and how you aim to take it forward. But we get lots of dogs, especially those that are, for example, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier is a very, very stoic dog, and they can hide their lameness, and they'll switch from leg to leg to leg. And a lot of the time it can be confusing for the vets because of the fact that they've sent the dog and they'll sometimes just put lameness ? Right for ? Or left for, and they're not 100% sure. They've done everything they can. And it's getting them on the stance analyzer, and we do about 3 or 4 captures of that. And the owner standing at different positions, and it'll give us an almost like a real good diagnosis of what's going on with the fact that they're not using this limb, that type of thing, So it's very, very good for that. We do it for the agility sporting dogs. It has the weight on it as well, so you can see exactly what weight they are. It's an all-round great machine for those who are wanting to go forward with the rehab side of things,
Yeah, I really love what you mentioned about sending it to the vets, because often, especially if you have a veterinary practice where the vets are not that educated in veterinary rehabilitation, something like that is a lot more convincing for them when we're just sending them a report with our, what we see, because then they'll be like, oh, okay, now I understand. Because that's the way they think, So I love that. So that's obviously a buy that you do not regret. It's something that you use.
No, I don't regret that. No. There's 2 things I wouldn't be without, and that's the stance analyzer. And I have a thermal imaging camera as well. And I find that it is really, really good, because you can see the hypothermia and the hypothermia, and you can see which areas are stressed. So we usually put them on the stance analyzer first, then we look at the thermal imaging, and then it's hands-on. And I usually like to get the owners involved as well. I'll say, can you actually feel this here? Get hands-on, and then they know exactly what they're dealing with. We have a number of vets who refer to us, and one vet in particular always says to the clients, go see Tracey, you'll love her. She talks a lot. She'll get you involved in everything. And she does some kind of voodoo. So, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so here in Cape Town, years ago, I used to be called the Hocus Pocus vet. So yeah, I don't know what they think we're up to. You know, it's like crystals and smoke and crazy things. But the thermal imaging camera is another one. It's like another toy, which is so nice to have, right?
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
Let's take a little shift now and talk about where you get most of your clients from. So are you quite active in marketing? Do you have a marketing strategy or plan, or is it something that just sort of happens when it happens?
To be honest with you, I probably get, the staff would say, and I have friends and colleagues in the business that say, you don't go on Facebook enough, you don't do enough. But honestly, we're so busy that it's always word of mouth. You know, I'll do the odd kind of, we'll do a lot for charities. So we'll run charity. You know, we had a sponsored swim last year, and then we did a Weight Watchers event at a local leisure centre. So it was the Weight Watchers for humans and the Weight Watchers for dogs, and we got all the vet nurses in the areas together from all different practices, and we had this large event. And the dogs came in to get weighed, and they went to speak to the vet nurses about nutrition and diet, and then they came to us about advice on hydrotherapy. So I do run quite a number of events to promote our services, and I enjoy doing that. I like getting involved and getting getting in touch with the public, and any money we raise goes to the charities. But as far as marketing and stuff like that, to be honest with you, it's something that I've not had to really concentrate on, because it's as soon as we after the COVID we said we're open, it just went well again, so yeah.
And do you find that the vets refer to you easily, or do you have some vets that are still not quite open to veterinary rehabilitation?
Yeah, it's been difficult, because when me obviously coming from down the south and working at the likes of Fitzpatrick's and all the vets down there, they're so on board with it because there's a lot more competition. But moving up here, it was mainly large animal that they actually worked with, and they've gone over to the small animals. So, as I say, a lot of it was a little bit voodoo and what they do. But however, we invite the vet nurses to bring their dogs here, and we have them here, and they bring their dogs for physio and for hydro, and we don't charge them. We let them come and bring their dogs, and we don't charge them. So they've actually gone now back to this centre, and they've said, wow, I've been there with my dog. They're able to talk to the clients about what we do here, so they've got more insight into that, and that works really, really well. I've always believed in that it's getting the frontline staff on board with the work you do, and then even the receptionists come with a dog as well, so they know exactly what we do and what the process is and how we work. So they kind of do the work for us, they do the advertisement for us.
Yeah. So you might not think that you have a marketing plan, but you actually do. So all this you're talking about is all your marketing plan. So you have some PR through the charity stuff that you do, and you've got some intentional word of mouth that you're creating. So I love it.
It works.
So what are the plans for you? So what's your goals sort of for the practice? So like in 5 years time, 10 years time, where do you hope to be?
Well, I'm very, very fortunate in the fact that we've just received the accreditation for a large course that we can run here for the hydrotherapy. So this is something that I'm wanting to bring to Scotland so that we can run the hydrotherapy course here. I'm also going to be in talks with a local agricultural college. They already run vet nurse courses, and they're looking for myself to do more teaching that side, because I do have a teaching qualification as well. And I used to lecture in the rehab side for the vet nurses in Suffolk. So that's the side I'd like to get more into again, and then passing on the knowledge and the expertise and things that I've built up, and the pitfalls of the actual business, and pass that on to those who's potentially interested in going down that route of doing this work. That's my goal. I'm not really looking to open another centre as much as I feel that there probably is a need for it up here, but it's just, I am a bit where I like everything done a certain way. I'm a Virgo, so everything has to be right, and I would I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but it's just, I like everything, and I would be worried that if I wasn't there, that the clients weren't getting the same, same service and that. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Well, I think through your efforts in educating people in the field of veterinary rehabilitation, hopefully somebody will open up another clinic.
Yeah. That's what I'd like. Yeah, I'd like that. So that there's a need for it up here, and I just think that it needs to be the right people for the right job, and opening up, and for them to say that, I did my training with Tracey, and they would know that they know me, and they know that it would be good. So that would be great. Yeah, I'd be very, very proud of that. Yeah.
So if you look back now at your career thus far, like what are the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, and how did you overcome them?
I think with my husband being in the military, it was always moving around and reinventing myself. But I just looked at every opportunity, whether I was going into teaching or into human fitness, or still continuing the work with the dogs. I've been on a large project for falls prevention for the elderly. And I've pushed myself and done things that I never thought that I could do. And I've looked upon that and thought, right, what have I learned from that? How can I use that in the next job that I'm doing? And when I'm working now, it just seems there's always something you can draw upon. And you might think it's from the most unlikely source. You think, well, I only worked in a shop. How can that help me now to become to work in the rehab sector or whatever? Everything always can tie in, even the dog grooming side of things. I mentioned to clients, when the dog's paws are all covered in hair, that needs to be trimmed off. Ask your groomer to trim that off, and that'll help them get more stability and greater grip in the pads and things. Everything you can pull little bits from wherever to incorporate in the job that you're doing, and yeah, it all works. But that was the hardest, I think, just moving to a new area or a new place and going, right, okay, what's out there? And a lot of the time I've spoke to people, or I've applied for jobs, and they're saying, we're not looking for this, however, we're looking for that. And because I've had experience in various sectors, I've been able to say, well, I could do that. It's not something I'm really wanting to do, but I could do that and give it a go. And then it's moved on to something else. So there's, never be put off by sometimes people get on the track where they think they have to do this, and this. I'm 57 now, and you just keep moving on. You just keep working, and you just, it'll come there. You'll get there, but you just roll with it and learn what you can, and hopefully it'll all tie in at the end, and it'll help.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. And I think that we can learn from every situation that we find ourselves in. And like you say, it could be anything. It could be even something from when you're younger and not even involved in vet rehab, maybe weightlifting or something. There's something that you learn from everything you do. So that's really great advice. So when you look at your practice now, so are you like consulting every day? So how many days is it open a week? Do you have time? Because obviously you're going to be now moving into the education side of things. So what is the plan going forward once you do that? You're going to get somebody else to come and help you? That's the type of thing that I'm interested in. At the moment, I don't work on Monday now because I have quite a lot of admin with the reports to the vets, new customers coming in, logging them onto the system and everything. And so I have the Monday off, and we work 5 days. We work the Saturday as well, long day Saturday. But we generally work around the clients as well. I don't have set times where we work from this side to that side each week. If we find we're getting quite a lot of clients in on a certain day, we might extend that day and work at that. We have a very, very good team. They're excellent for that, and we make it work. I think sometimes being too strict on what you offer and when you're open and that type of thing. If you want to, if you want to get a good reputation and you want to move forward, you sometimes have to bend the rules a little bit and work with them. But no, I love the work I do. I am, as I say, I'm very, very sad. This is my life and I love it. It's a passion of mine, and I eat, breathe and sleep, the physio and the rehab side of things. I like walking my dogs as a hobby, and probably that's about it, so. When we were chatting on before we started recording, you were telling me about that pre-winter training for the agility
Yeah,
dogs. I'd really love you to share that with the listeners because I thought it was such a great idea.
yeah.
Won't you tell them sort of what that entails and how you came to the idea?
Well, we obviously, in every area there's a lot of sporting dogs, and I always like to be more proactive than reactive. So, we just put it out on Facebook that we were running this winter training. Well, it was a pre-assessment for winter training, because a lot of the time, generally the owners want to keep the dogs fit over the winter period, but they're not sure exactly which areas they may be lacking, whether it be range of movement, muscle strength they're lacking in, they've got really poor core, they need more stamina. And it's also a great way to actually get clients into the practice that perhaps didn't know we were here and we didn't know it existed. So we put it out there that we were doing the pre-assessment, winter pre-assessment training check, and we got them in on the yesterday, and we had teas and coffees and biscuits and everything set up for them, and they come in, they had the stance analyzer first of all, then they were passed to another room to me where I did strength and muscle testing. We did muscle mass measurements, we did thermal imaging, and I did palpation, and really bringing all of the diagnostic testing together. We were able to sit with the clients and say, okay, so what are we actually seeing here? What do we need to improve on? Is there areas where we feel that because of this, we've got perhaps an imbalance of muscle strength in a certain area because they're doing the same fitness or the same sport? And from there, we were able to discuss a program with them on what would help through the winter period and how to take them ready for next season. So these little agility days or these little events are just so beneficial because it gives you a chance to meet new people and work with different clubs. And also it's fantastic because Ailey was there and I had Melanie there as well, and they were learning things as they were going along. So we were going back and saying, okay, what do you think would be the issue because of this dog wasn't weight bearing 100% in one limb? And discuss the injury or the ailment that they actually presented with, so it was really, really good. Yeah.
So there you are, marketing again, and you didn't even know it.
I don't marketing.
That's a brilliant marketing plan. Definitely a nice strategy to put together to try and get new people in the practice. Awesome. Tracey, before we finish off our chat, can you share with the listeners, if you want to give one piece of advice to those people that are getting into the field of vet rehab, what would it be?
I would say, as I said before, don't be put off by, if you get knocked back with the course, if you're wanting to do a course and you don't get in, try again and continue to, look at things where your strengths and your weaknesses and how you can improve on that. Do some work, get to know the local groomers, get to know the local agility clubs, and just get your name out there that you're interested in the work that you're doing and what you're aiming to do, and learn from that. There may be a little snippet that you find and you think, I would use that. I feel that that's an area where we're lacking in more research, or we're lacking in more treatments that would benefit the dog in that. And I write everything down. I like to keep a reflective log of things that I've found, what I've learned and how that's impact on my business. And that's very, very good as well, because years down the line you look back at that and you can say, well, what, that I've done that now, or I still need to do that. That was something that I thought of. So never be put off. If it's your dream, just keep on going and you'll get there. It's just a fantastic business to be in. It's very, very rewarding. I mean, obviously we have some very, very sad cases that never leave you. You're haunted by them, and some dogs we get in are so bad. You want to just go to the room and have a good cry, but you're there to help them, and you'll make a difference. It's such a good job to do. It really is. Just keep going for your dream.
Thanks, Tracey. Very motivating. Thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful chatting to you.
And you.
Cheers, Tracey.
Thanks now. Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. And please, if you get a moment, head over to Stitcher or iTunes and leave me a review. It's a really lonely job being a podcaster, and so the only time I get to hear from you or know that you're out there is when I get a review. And know that I read every single one of your reviews. So to those of you that have left reviews, I want to say a very, very big thank you. Every time we get a review, it really helps to get the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast out there to all the vet rehabbers all over the world. Alright, vet rehabbers, so if you are looking for more continuing education in the field of veterinary rehabilitation, head over to onlinepetart.com. Go be awesome, guys.